Hello. Right. Well, hello there. Firstly, I must say a huge big thank you to you all for coming this evening. My name is Barry West. You've most probably seen me wheeling about already tonight. I hope you are having a good evening. I'm here to tell you a little about myself before and after my accident. I come from a large family who live in Upfield in East Sussex. When I was growing up, I had many ideas of wanting to do many things when I'm older. I went to a young farmers club, Red Cross, Cubs, and after watching Dirty Dancing the video, I even tried ballet for nearly a year because I so wanted to dance like Patrick Swayze. But as I had rugby training and boxing training on other nights, I gave up wearing the stockings and ballet shoes as I couldn't do everything. So at the tender age of 19, I had everything going for me. I loved to keep fit, and to top it all off, I was running my own gardening business, which I loved, working 7 days a week most of the time. Then one day, I was driving down the road. It was pouring with rain, and I swerved to miss a badger. Went to put the brakes on, as I'm sure many of you have done to avoid a dog, cat or wild animal, and driven on unhurt. So why did fate strike such an evil blow to me when my main concern was to avoid hitting a badger? Nobody knows. From 1 minute you can be a fit, strong person, enjoying life, and in the next minute your life is turned upside down. I hit a tree and my van roof caved in on me. I was very badly injured, and as soon as I arrived at Guildford Hospital, I was rushed onto a life support machine. I stayed there for a few days fighting for my life and was then moved to Stoke Mandeville Hospital. I was very heavily sedated, but over time, having had septicemia, leaky heart valve, pneumonia, my sedation was gradually reduced. When I woke up, my first thought was that I was going to be late for work. So I got my mum to ring Phil and say, sorry I was late. But little did I know I was a month late. Then the hard work started. I became more and more conscious of things going on around me, and it was so scary. I felt frightened to be alone, but I couldn't explain what I was scared of. I was totally dependent on a machine to breathe for me. I was too weak, and my mum had to learn how to lip read to know what I was saying. It was so frustrating. It was at that time that I had traction to stabilise my broken neck, which involved in drilling both sides of my skull and screwing a bolt either side to attach a traction device to hang weights off in order to fuse my broken bones together. As I lay there, day in, day out, week in, week out, bolted to the bed on a life support machine, I wondered when the tears and anger would stop. I had so many questions going round in my head. When will I start living again? When will life start being normal? I had no answer to any of these questions. I didn't even know if I was going to make the next day. I just kept battling on with grit and determination. I was at my weakest point when I developed an infection and I was put on these tablets that made me hallucinate. I had the worst nightmares imaginable. I was so scared to close my eyes. I even got my parents to stay on the floor of my hospital room. I went in hospital at 11.5 stone, and at this point I was just a fragile 7 stone. I was just skin and bones. As you can see, I'm not now. At this time, as time went on, I started to try and wean myself off the breathing machine, but for weeks I couldn't get past 13 seconds. And the doctors told me and my parents that I would never be able to breathe on my own again without this machine. Every hope I had inside me to get off this machine was shattered. I couldn't believe it. I tried to stay strong. For my parents, they looked so tired and scared. As the months passed, I finally cracked the breathing machine and my traction was taken off. This progressed to sitting up, and then I was moved into a wheelchair. But I was really struggling, thinking, how can I cope? I can't move my arms and legs. I keep thinking, why me? What have I done to deserve this? It's so easy to feel sorry for yourself. Even now, I sometimes think, what can I do for myself? Nothing. But where does thinking like that get me? Nowhere. So I try to stay positive. I remember the first time one of my brothers came up to hospital and lifted me into his car to take me for a drive to Tesco's, and I hate shopping. I kept saying, slow down, bro, slow down. It just felt so scary being back in the car. He said, bro, I'm only going 20 miles an hour. I would sway over to the side as I had no balance or body muscles to hold me up. After 11 months in hospital, I was finally able to go home. That was when reality really hit me big time. It was so good to be home, but I still felt very alone, very weak and very emotional. Then I was bought a computer by a person who I used to look after their garden for appreciation for everything I'd done. Over time I taught myself how to use the mouse with a mouse stick, and I started to make business cards and letterheads, which then developed into designing t-shirts and printing them. I was really getting into it. I also started playing darts with a blowgun for a hobby at home and on the local pubs. I'm living a normal life now, well, as normal as I can. I love adventure and doing stuff outdoors. And when I was doing a talk once up in Stoke Mandeville Hospital, I met Stu from Backup, who talked to me about doing one of the backup courses. So last year I did the activity weekend in Exmoor. I did abseiling, sailing, and even went on the zip wire. I was back in my element, doing things with a smile on my face, overcoming obstacles I thought I would never be able to do again. I came away from the first backup course thinking, I want to do more. I know it sounds silly, but I feel like I had more spring in my step. Then I went on a ski kart taster day in Bracknell, the dry ski slopes, which was excellent. Believe me, I never thought I would ever be skiing with the use of my arms and legs, let alone without them. It was then I penciled in my first ever time abroad to go on a ski course on Sweden on the 5th of January this year. I felt like an excited kid. But it was the first time in 11 years I'd ever had to leave my electric chair behind. But once in Sweden, I was flying down the slopes, filled with adrenaline and warm as toast, and I ate the cold. It was truly the best ever time of my life. It opened up many barriers for me, which I thought would never be possible. With this in mind, I'm on my mission to Snowdon. I'm on a mission on the 24th of this month to be pulled, pushed, dragged and lifted up Snowdon, the tallest mountain in England and Wales. This will be the biggest mission of my life, but I want to do this for backup. I have seen the first-hand life-changing work they do for people who have had their lives turned upside down. I will succeed to getting to the top, and if you'd like to sponsor me, I have my sponsor form with me, so come and find me. Thank you very much for listening. Bazza, bring it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep that going. Mr. Barry West, how good is that? Well, I wish I could be that brave actually, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do now, we're going to start, dinner's going to be served. But just before we do start, as I say again, don't forget the silent auction. You'll have the forms. The ladies will be coming round to collect the forms up. You can bid on as many items as you like, but you can only bid once on one item, so make it a good bid. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be speaking to you during the evening. Bon appetit.
Never